guys, it's Charlie, or Charlie Reads here on YouTube, and today I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up and February TBR. Sadly, I didn't read that many books in January. I only read 3, but I was really busy with school. The first book I read in January, which was also the first book I read this year, was Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I absolutely loved this book. I got really into this whole series. I read it in about just under a week, I think, and then I'd probably give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you don't know what this book is about, I'll tell you. It's a fairy tale retelling of Cinderella. I already guessed that. And the main character's name is Cinder. She's basically our Cinderella, but she's a cyborg, and she basically is a mechanic. She lives with her stepmom and her 2 stepsisters. Her stepsisters are, her stepmom's called Adri and her stepsisters are Pearl and Peony. She is really close with her stepsister Peony, but then Peony gets a disease called lysmosis, which is very big in the series, and basically her stepmom Adri sends Cinder away to do tests and become a test subject to find a cure for lysmosis. And the whole load of stuff spirals out from there, and it is so good. I highly recommend you pick this book up if you haven't already, and if you have, comment down below and we can figure all that together because I love this book. The second book I read in January is actually Scarlet, the second book in the Lunar Chronicle. I think it took me a bit longer to read this one. I finished this one maybe about 2 weeks ago and I loved it so much. Again, I think I would give this one a 5 stars actually. I preferred this book to Cinder because I fell in love with Scarlet and Wolf. This one, in case you didn't know, in case you couldn't guess, it's a fairy tale retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, Scarlet and Wolf. And I just fell in love with those characters instantly. But I'm not going to tell you too much about this book because obviously it's a sequel, so I don't want to give away spoilers for Cinder. It's all just so dramatic and I love it. So the third book I read in January, I don't actually have a physical copy of because I listened to an audiobook. I read it for my book kind of club thing with my 2 YouTube friends, Molly from Little Blue Bookworm and Angeline from Angeline Reads Books. January book of the month, it was The Darkest Minds by Alexander Bracken. Before I read this book, I didn't have any interest in reading it at all. I really didn't want to read it. It didn't sound like something that interested me. So I listened to an audiobook because I got a free audiobook, and so I chose that for this month. So yeah, it took me a while to really get into the book. I think it took me till about chapter 15 or something. But after that I was hooked. I love this book so much. I would give it probably maybe 4 3/4. The main character Ruby basically she's in this camp called Thurmond, and it's for children because children in this book have special abilities. There's reds, yellows, oranges, greens and blues, and our main character is put into the category green, but she's really an orange, and oranges are the ones that are the most dangerous because they have the most special abilities, as you can say. But basically she gets rescued by the Children's League and she doesn't trust them, she's really scared and she runs away. And she meets these 3 people, Liam, Chubbs and Zoo, and she goes off in search of with them in search of this boy named the Slip Kid, and so much happens and it is so good. I highly recommend that book if you haven't already read it. So that's it for my January wrap up. On to my February wrap. So the first book I want to read in February, I've actually already started, but I'm not finished it yet. I'm a bit over halfway through, and that is Cress by Marissa Meyer, the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I am there, so I have about, let's see, that much to go. Oh, I'm on chapter 41, so I'm like 2 chapters away from like book 4. So like part 4, book 4 of this book. So it's like really torn and everything because I took it in the bath and it got wet. So the next book is another one that I would like to finish in February. I started it back in December. Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. I read Anna and the French Kiss in December and I loved it so much. I'm liking this one so far. I'm on chapter 12, so I'm not really into it yet, but I'm hoping to finish it next month. And I know I will love it because so far I'm loving Lola and I love Cricket. I adore Cricket. He's amazing. But yeah, Lola and the Boy Next Door is about this girl named Lola who's dating this boy Max. When she was younger she had this huge crush on her next door neighbour Cricket. But then he moved away and she hadn't seen him in a couple of years. But then him and his family, his sister Calliope and his mum and dad moved back next door, and Lola's life is basically turned upside down and she has no idea what to do. And a whole bunch of feelings start coming back that she didn't want to come back, and so much happens and it sounds amazing, and hopefully I get to finish it next month. Next book I want to read in February. I mainly want to read this one because of the author, and also the sequel to it is coming out in May. So I would quite like to read this one either February or March. And that book is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I love Sarah J Maas. She is my favourite author of all time. I love her so much. And I feel like I'm kind of on a high right now for fairy tale retellings, because A Court of Thorns and Roses is apparently a fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which that alone sounds amazing. Because basically the main character Fair basically kills a wolf, I believe. Yes, a wolf. Comes at a very high price, and because she kills this wolf she must go live imprisoned in this big house with this man named Tamlin. And she basically starts to develop feelings for Tamlin, and loads of drama happens, but that's all I really know. So I cannot wait to read this book. That's it for this video guys. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you all next time.